Okay, class, where we are now is to discuss the liver, one of the accessory organs involved in the gastrointestinal tract, gastrointestinal system. The liver is the largest gland in the body. It has 4 lobes we're going to come to in a moment. But before we do that, let's look at the functions of the liver. Okay? Hepatocyte functions. Hepatocyte is a fancy name for one liver cell. Okay? Process blood-borne nutrients. Now remember, let's think about this. Everything that comes from the gastrointestinal tract, stomach and intestines, is going to go through the hepatic portal. That was some veins that led everything into the liver. So everything that was water soluble. Now water soluble, remember lipids go through the central lacteal into the lymphatics. So it would process blood-borne nutrients. Those ones that are directly coming from the intestine, stomach area, going into that liver there. Stores fat-soluble vitamins. Which ones are those? Vitamins A, D, E, and K. Perform detoxification. Anything your body makes, chemicals, and anything taken from the outside, medications, things of this nature, the liver has enzymes to break it down. For example, drinking alcohol is broken down by the liver by an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase. Produce bile. We talked about that for emulsification of fat. Stores glycogen. What's that? That's your storage carbohydrate. Produce proteins, the plasma proteins, albumin, the globulins, the fibrinogen. Produce the clotting factors. Produces blood cells. Remember hematopoiesis started in the yolk sac. Then the primordial liver, then spleen and so forth. Produces some erythropoietin and thrombopoietin. Most are produced by the kidney, but it produces some. Another thing about the liver. The liver has a tremendous ability to regenerate. That's what's so bad about somebody that's been drinking so much and they tell them stop drinking, because the liver could come back and do good. Okay? Then it produces endothelial factors and so forth. We can talk about it. It produces bile. We'll talk about that later. So now let's get to the anatomy of the liver. All right. So when we look at the person, here's the liver right here under the diaphragm on the right side. The kidney would have been up there. Okay. There's that liver. All right. Now we go to looking at the gross anatomy of the liver. The liver has a right lobe, big right lobe, and a left lobe, separated by this ligament, the falciform right there. Okay, so we come here then. Now I'm going to go to the underside. Remember I said the liver had 4 lobes. So here's that falciform ligament, which kind of holds you to the diaphragm and so forth. But I want to come here and go to the underside of the liver. Let's use a drawing. Here would be, right there, the left lobe, the right lobe, we had 4, the quadrate, kind of quadrate angle, and the caudate. 4, but 2 main ones. 2 main ones. There's your gallbladder. 2 main ones. Okay? In the cadaver, that's what you'd be looking at. That's that big right, smaller left. Right there's the caudate, and down here would be the quadrate in that area. Okay? So, right here, we talked about and described how the liver, the hepatic ducts, right and left, would dump into with the cystic duct to give the common bile duct, and we already described that in intricate detail. Okay? So we've gotten to that part right there. Gotten to that part. Everybody's okay. All right. Round ligament used to be the old umbilical vein from your belly button. Now we're going to histology of the liver. We're shaving it down. And the liver is made up of these lobules. And in here, these little dotty things are your hepatocytes, your liver cells. Now we have, see right here, these lobules are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sided. And we're going to be interested in this, and each lobule is separated by a connective tissue septum. But what I'm interested in is each lobule's corner. That corner, that corner, that corner, that corner, that corner. So these various corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these various corners, I'm interested in that. Because the interest in that comes with this. Something called the, get to that. Go to it here. Where are we? The portal triad. But before we do that, let me just go back up here. Let's go back up here. Okay. So we already discussed, let's go back to a picture of the liver. Here's that falciform separates the right and left, suspends liver, from, as I mentioned, from the diaphragm. The round ligament, umbilical vein, that was that there. Okay. The lesser omentum anchors the liver to the stomach. Now let's go back and look at that. Lesser omentum. Remember we talked about that? Let's go find that again if we can. Okay, here's that lesser omentum. Stomach, liver, lesser omentum. Right there. We talked about that. Hepatic artery and vein at the porta hepaticus. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Bile ducts. Okay, so now, in order to explain this, I'm going to go here now. Back to the liver. Follow with me here. We're going to break the liver down right there. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm coming right there. Okay, and I want to talk about the portal triad. The portal triad. Okay, portal triad. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Let's see what if we have anything here I want. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the portal triad right there. All right, let's find that. At each corner of the lobule, remember that's what I was saying. I wanted to talk about each corner here. Each corner. At each corner of the lobule, you have three tubes. Three tubes. You have the bile duct right there. A portal arteriole and an hepatic venule right here. Hepatic venule right there, which is a branch of the hepatic portal vein. All right. So the way this is going to work right here is this. Let's start first with the bile duct. With the bile duct right there. Okay. The hepatocytes are making bile in these cells here. They're making bile. The hepatocytes then are taking the bile and putting it into this area here of the bile duct. Let me see if I can do a better one there. All right, so here's the bile duct. Here's the bile canaliculi. And what's happening is the cells are putting bile into here from the hepatocytes, and the bile is traveling down here. So it's traveling in this direction. Everything else is going the opposite. It's traveling in this direction. Then what will happen, these bile ducts will come together, all together, and finally form the right and left hepatic ducts. All right. Bile is being made in the hepatocytes. Okay, and then it comes, so that's that. All right. Now we're talking about the supply from the portal vein. So now I'm going to come back to this one. Okay, the portal vein right here, which came from the intestines and the stomach, is sending blood to the liver. The blood is then going into this tube right here, the portal venule, and it is then traveling this way. And as it travels this way, the liver cells are pulling stuff out to either detoxify or to store or to metabolize, whatever. So as it comes up, these hepatocytes are looking at it. Now, the leftover stuff then goes into this central vein. And the central vein then is going to go to the hepatic vein, and the hepatic vein will finally find its way into the inferior vena cava. So here's that central vein right there. And see that central vein, so in other words, hepatic portal vein, blood's coming, traveling this way, pulling stuff out from there, traveling, what's left goes in here, which would then go into that central vein, which would go into the hepatic vein, and finally, ultimately, the hepatic veins lead into the vena cava. Okay? Now that's venous. What about the blood supply to keep the cells living? Now we're here. This is the portal arteriole. See, this is the portal arteriole. This is the one that's going to give the blood supply. So when we come, real quick, let's see if we can find blood supply here. So see, here's that hepatic portal vein right there. Okay. Hepatic portal vein right there. Here are the hepatic veins. And then the hepatic veins, what are they doing? Going into the inferior vena cava. So the hepatic portal vein is going into the liver. And then when it passes through the liver, through that central vein, then it goes up into there. So we go back real quick. Go back right there. Where's that picture again? I'm going to take that picture, copy it. I'm going to put it close down here. Close down here so you can now see what I'm talking about there. Place it right there. So you can see now, here's this. So when this comes, it comes up and then goes into there, that central vein, and then there. Then this arteriole, and then the central vein right there would eventually all come together to give the hepatic veins and go into the inferior vena cava. All right, that's how that works. Now we need to look at this one real quick, the arteriole. So we're going to go there and find it real quick before we run out of time on this video. See, where are we now? Find that blood supply. Okay, right here would be the gastroduodenum. And see, here's that hepatic artery. That hepatic artery right there. And that hepatic artery would have gone up into the liver. Let's go back. And then branch out in the liver into these arterioles. So this gives the oxygen and the nutrients. These others are veins for other reasons. But the portal triad then is this right here for the bile production and transport, bile transport. This coming from the stomach and intestines, hepatic portal, to be modified by this. And then this for the supply for this. So that's what you're looking at. And the liver is made up of a bunch of those. Then you got the Kupffer cells. These are fixed macrophages within the liver. This is for immune action. Go back to the immune chapter. Okay. So we've covered that liver. Now we want to talk about bile production. So I'm going to start another video.